I've always been the kind of person who believes in hard work and minding my own business. After 5 years of saving every penny from my job as a network engineer, I finally had enough for a down payment on my first house, a modest three-bedroom in the Maplewood Heights neighborhood. Nothing extravagant, but it was mine. Being the first person in my family to own property, moving day was deeply emotional. My parents helped me unpack, both of them tearing up as they placed furniture and decor in what they kept calling your beautiful home, Marcus. The neighborhood was quiet, filled with retirees and young families. The Carters next door on my left welcomed me with a homemade apple pie the day I moved in. But the house on my right remained a mystery for the first week, though I occasionally noticed a woman peering through the blinds. Setting up my home network was, of course, my first priority. Working remotely meant I needed flawless internet. I invested in the best fiber connection available, 2 gigabytes symmetric. Coming from dial-up as a kid, the speed was euphoric that I spent the weekend installing enterprise-grade hardware I'd collected over the years. Some people collect vintage cars. I collect routers and switches. Everything ran smoothly until 3 weeks later when the doorbell rang one sunny Saturday afternoon. Standing there was a blonde woman in her mid-50s wearing a high-end lavender tracksuit. Her smile felt rehearsed. "Hi there. I'm Meredith Walker from next door. Just wanted to welcome you to the neighborhood." "Thanks," I said, extending a hand. "I'm Marcus Bailey." She shook it lightly, barely touching my fingers. "We're having a little barbecue next weekend. You should come, meet everyone." "Sounds great. What can I bring?" She waved it off. "Just yourself." Then her eyes wandered past me, catching sight of my setup, 3 monitors and networking gear clearly visible through the open door. "I see you work with computers." "I'm a network engineer," I replied. "Work remotely most days." Her eyes brightened. "Perfect. Maybe you could help us. My son Logan's internet keeps dropping, and he needs it for his entrepreneurial ventures." I agreed to take a look, not knowing it would be the start of one of the strangest neighbor disputes of my life. The next afternoon, I visited their home. The place was spotless, almost unnaturally so. Meredith led me to a basement room that looked like a teenager's dream. Gaming posters, energy drinks, and clothes strewn about. Logan, probably late 20s, sat in a gaming chair wearing a retro Marvel t-shirt. He barely acknowledged me. "Logan, this is Marcus. He's here to help with the internet." He spun around. "Can you make it faster?" "It's garbage right now." The issue was exactly what I suspected. They had the cheapest package and an outdated router that should have been retired a decade ago. The Wi-Fi password was still the factory default. I explained that they needed a new router and a better internet plan if Logan was gaming or streaming. "How much is that going to cost?" Meredith asked, frowning that I gave her an estimate. She looked shocked. "Isn't there something you can do to make it faster without all that?" "Not really," I said. "It's like expecting a bicycle to perform like a sports car." Logan finally looked up. "What about your internet?" "Bet it's killer." "He's seen your setup," Meredith chimed in. "What if we just use your Wi-Fi? We're right next door." I blinked. "You want to use my internet connection?" "It'd be the neighborly thing to do. We could give you $10 a month." I declined politely, citing work security policies. Her demeanor shifted immediately. "Well, I thought neighbors were supposed to help each other." The next morning at 7:30 a.m., she showed up with muffins. I accepted them cautiously. "What if you set up a guest network just for us? That way your work stuff stays secure." "Problem solved." "Still using my bandwidth," I said. "That I pay for." "We could pay you $20 a month." I reiterated that it wasn't feasible. "My internet costs $150 a month." "I'm sure you can afford it," she said with a tight smile. A few days later, I reluctantly attended the barbecue. The yard was pristine, filled with neighbors I hadn't yet met. Meredith introduced me as our new neighbor Marcus. He's a computer genius. I tried to downplay it, shaking hands and making small talk. Logan ignored me. Meredith brought up community Wi-Fi. "Wouldn't it be wonderful if Marcus could set up a shared network for the whole neighborhood?" Everyone chipping in. She pulled Frank Dawson, the HOA board member, into the conversation. Frank looked confused. We never discussed anything like that. Well, maybe we should. Marcus has the fastest internet. I explained that my contract didn't allow for reselling or sharing beyond my household. Meredith dismissed the concern. They'll never know. Logan chimed in. You're just being selfish. It's my property, I replied. I pay for it. As I walked away, Logan called out. Let me know if you change the password. I already figured out the current one. I changed the password that night and ordered security cameras. Days later, my internet slowed significantly. I discovered 3 unknown devices on my network. I kicked them off and set up a honeypot, an open network that throttled bandwidth and logged access attempts. The same devices showed up the next day that I confronted Meredith and Logan that evening. Someone from this house has been stealing my Wi-Fi. That's illegal. Must be a mistake, Meredith said. No mistake. I have logs. Logan crossed his arms. Could be anyone. Security footage shows you on your laptop facing my house. You're spying on us now. Meredith gasped. I'm recording my property. And if you try again, I will involve law enforcement. That week, my trash cans were knocked over repeatedly. My mail disappeared, then reappeared torn open. Doorbell pranks resumed nightly. My new cameras caught every incident. I even had to show an officer who visited after Meredith complained about the cameras. The officer sided with me, advising I continue documenting everything. Then came the community meeting. A handwritten invitation was taped to my door. Neighborhood meeting, discussing disruptive elements in our community. I showed up with documentation. 10 neighbors sat in Meredith's living room. She began with vague complaints about surveillance creating an atmosphere of distrust. Are we talking about Marcus's security cameras? Frank asked. Yes, they're intrusive, installed after he refused to share his internet. They're pointed at my own property. I clarified. After multiple hacking attempts, I showed them logs, MAC addresses, and timestamps. This is about being a good neighbor, Meredith said, flustered. Offered him $20 a month, she added. My service costs $150. Mrs. Carter spoke up. Why not use the library or coffee shop Wi-Fi? Or pay for better internet? Someone else offered. Meredith was unraveling. Logan stood up. Told you this was a stupid idea, Mom. He stormed out. Most neighbors followed shortly after. Frank advised her to resolve future disputes privately. Days later, Logan visited my home alone. He apologized and admitted he'd gotten a job at the local college's IT help desk. Thanks for not reporting me. That would have ruined everything. He was moving out next month. They also installed their own fiber internet. Meredith filed one last complaint with the HOA. My excessive internet usage was allegedly causing health problems. Frank dismissed it immediately. Eventually, I brought over brownies as a peace offering. Meredith accepted them, albeit grudgingly. Your brownies look adequate, she said that a month later, Logan moved out. He thanked me again and wished me well. Meredith and I never became friends, but a cold civility settled in. She nodded instead of scowled. The Wi-Fi war of Maplewood Heights was over. My internet remained fast, my home secure, and my peace intact. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply living well, secure, unbothered, and free from entitled neighbors freeloading off your bandwidth.